So I'm going to tell you the story of how my pet died, but it's probably mainly, or really mainly, the story of how my pet came into being, and also a bit the story of how puberty is a voyage of self-discovery. So when I was about 12, my granny subscribed me to this tween magazine called Girl Talk. And Girl Talk had this page where people could write in or send photos and say or show whatever they wanted. And someone wrote into Girl Talk with a photo of themselves and their rat. And I can't remember exactly, but I think the rat was either sitting on their head or it was sitting on their shoulder. And in the letter that they wrote with the photo, then they boasted about how their rat was their best friend and it kept them company while they did their homework. And for some reason, this photo and letter really struck a deep chord with me, and it became my all-consuming passion to get my mom to agree to let me have a pet rat. And when I was about 12, the internet had more or less just been invented, or at least invented in a way that you could have it in your house. So I spent an awful lot of time on rat forums, looking up facts about rats that I could use to convince my mom to let me get a rat. And I became very passionate about how they were actually like very beautiful, very intelligent, very loyal creatures that were, the most discriminated against, most prejudiced animal in the pet kingdom. And they were the ideal pet for a 12-year-old girl. And after a lot of months of pressure, my mom finally agreed that we could go to a rat fair that was happening in a town, I don't know, half an hour drive from our house. So my mom and I went to the rat fair, which was kind of what it sounds like, which is like a community hall filled with tables of people who were rat enthusiasts and who were either selling rat accessories like cages, the add-ons for cages, or rat toys, or they were breeders who were there with like catalogs of their rats where you could go and talk to them and sign up to buy one of their rats. So we went to this rat fair, and I had already been emailing with one lady who had a stand there who was called Elaine. So we went over to Elaine's stand and we talked to Elaine, and she, after talking to us for a while, agreed that we could be put on the list to get a rat from her next litter of baby rats. So then a few weeks later, we went to Elaine's house, which was, about half an hour drive as well from our house. And when we walked in, it should have been the first sign that maybe this was not necessarily the best idea, and a rat might not be my next best friend, because in Elaine's house she had, I would say, about 70 rats in like cages lining the floor and the stairs and all the rooms, and I found it completely terrifying. It smelled really, really strong, and it was just an awful lot of rats. But we were there, so we went in, and I picked up my rat, and my rat was black. It was a special kind of rat called a Dumbo rat that meant the ears grew on the side of the head rather than the top of the head. And he had a white lightning bolt on his chest, and I called him Cosmo, and took him home. And it became very clear from pretty much the first afternoon that even though I could see that Cosmo was objectively pretty cute and intelligent, I was also completely terrified of Cosmo because he had like big yellow rat teeth and a scaly rat tail, and he didn't want to sit on my head or my shoulder while I did my homework, and he didn't really want to be my best friend. And the most affectionate thing that Cosmo ever did was crawl into my sleeve and then sit in my armpit and kind of like move around and sometimes pee. And basically I found the whole thing just really stressful and also very guilt-inducing, because I also knew that it wasn't Cosmo's fault. Like, he was a rat. It's not his fault that he was acting like a rat. So I felt this immense guilt that I was now his owner, and my mum had also allowed me to get this rat, and I didn't feel the profound love and connection that I had been hoping for. So this was kind of the situation for about 2 years, and this is where I get to the part you asked me to talk about, which is how he died. And about 2 years later, I was going on holiday, and I asked my friend to look after Cosmo. And when I came back from holiday, I phoned to ask what time I could come and collect Cosmo from his house. And my friend went really, really quiet and very serious and very sad, and told me that Cosmo had died while I was away. And it was kind of a terrible conversation, because I felt so immensely guilty that my friend had to live through watching Cosmo die, and he'd had to be also aware that it was his friend's pet who was dying on his watch. And I also felt so guilty for Cosmo, who'd had to live his whole life being a rat who I had not loved like a best friend, or like he probably deserved to be loved. But I also felt just an overwhelming sense of relief that I no longer had to be a reluctant rat owner.